Hey, Michael. Haven't seen you in years. How's things been going?
Where's your jacket, my professional, our professional?
Yeah. Look, I know you didn't have a chance to review my second.
Yeah, I just was scanning it. I was like, you're too prolific for me, Andrew. I can't keep up.
All right, well, take your time. No one else is here yet.
So you must know Carol Kretschmann, is that correct?
I know her. Yes, let's say that. Yes, I know her.
Okay, because you put peace in the streets. Isn't that her trademark?
Yeah, she's been actually part of our weekly meetings for this Bermuda Collaborative, along with Silky D. Williams, Nichelle Farrow, and others. She made available her Peace in the Streets app for us to use for our project here in Los Angeles and Bermuda and globally.
Okay. Because she's fairly active, I understand, with the United Nations as well.
That's the point. It's as you say, I believe we have to take what we're doing here from a local to a global collaborative. And my opinion, Peace in the Streets Global Film Festival, the app, it can provide us with the ability to reach these young people here in Los Angeles and through the hip hop community. Because of course, as you know, Carol Kretschmann, as an architect, created World on Wheels.
Yeah.
So she's very much invested in this local community.
Yeah.
Now, also, timing is very important. She just finished the registration process for the competition for global awards on November the 30th. On December 15th, she's going to be at the United Nations with a global conference. In between now and then, we can, in fact, engage her with what we're doing so we can get leverage in addition to the CSW on December 6th. We can also get, I think, a footprint on December 15th by embedding her into what we're doing right now.
Okay, because she outreached to our contact in DC to get some information because she was having some meetings with some tech companies, and I provided them a bunch of information, but we never heard back what happened with any of that. Like, we don't know if she was.
Well, how long ago was that, Michael?
I'm going to say 3 months.
Yeah, it was unfortunate. Her husband passed away recently. So a part of, the last few months has been dealing with, her dealing with that.
Okay.
But she is now ready to move forward. And so we have her at our fingertips. She needs us and we need her.
Okay. Well, she asked for one of the pieces, and she was going to do this collective impact model with our 360 group, and we don't know what happened.
Well, she did mention that she was in contact with Lynn Fandel and also Gerald Bennett.
Okay. That's what I'm saying.
But again,
yeah.
Pardon me?
Sometimes these networks, you know what latency means? In a network?
I didn't hear what you said. I didn't hear what you said.
Do you know what latency means in a network? Technically, it's the amount of time it takes for a signal.
Do I know what latency means in network?
Latency. Latency means the amount of time it takes to send a signal and the signal to come back.
Latent?
Yeah, latency.
Oh, okay. I heard latency. Well, here's the thing, Michael. It was actually Gerald Bennett that reached out to me multiple times over the last 3 years. His question was always the same. What is the nonprofit that would interface with HUD to deliver the solutions from a unified manner? The first company I put in front of him was Global Business Incubation. Right. Yeah. Unfortunately, as you know, Paul McDonald unfortunately passed away. Right. Yeah. And he was dealing with grief from his son who passed away 2 years before. He never really recovered.
Okay.
So the next organization I put in front of him was United Hood Nation, because Brad Carson and I connected through GBI.
Yep.
As you know, United Hood Nation is not a formal corporation,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So my fallback 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, when Gerald Bennett reached out to me, I put in front of him the Ed Fu Foundation. So it's
Okay.
only today, now that I've connected you and Sheldon together, that I feel confident that now we can take advantage of these incremental steps that we've been taking individually, but now we can work, I think, collectively.
Okay.
Now,
Okay.
William Wells is not here yet today. He said he'd try to join us, but he's fully invested in this commitment we've made from November 6th, as I said to you, through Kingdom Day Parade, Kingdom Day weekend of next year.
Mm-hmm.
That's very important timing wise, because as you may know, the Rose Parade has been canceled. Likely the Kingdom Day Parade will be canceled. That's going to leave that weekend kind of open.
Yep.
Our intent is to have 3 days of virtual activities focusing on a reset of hip hop, reggae, and gospel to engage those communities with what we're doing right now. This, what we're calling the Fridays for Forgiveness, to be able to address endemic violence in our communities by providing STEAM solutions in the fourth industrial revolution. So maybe you could just take a moment and kind of glance over the email that I sent you.
Yeah, I'm
This is a project.
doing that while we're talking.
Great. Well, just to let you know, it's the personalities that are involved. I'm, as you may know, on the National Advisory Board of the Universal Hip Hop Museum. I was put there because of Silky D. Williams, Delphine Williams. She's the one back in 2012 I met at the Lamert Park Business Improvement District meeting because she wanted to shut down Crenshaw to have a hip hop parade. And she explained to me at that time.
Uh-oh, I lost you. You froze. You froze. You froze. Now you're muted.
Yes, I have internet connectivity challenges,
No
but I knew
problem.
where I stopped.
All right.
so,
Yeah.
uh, so Silky D. Williams, she explained to me that she was doing this because of what she called the hip hop ministry. That was my first exposure to what that is. Fast forward, that was in 2012, 2013. So of course, when I joined the Encounter think tank, I brought along Silky D. Williams and her Michelle Farrow. Michelle Farrow is very important to this. She's an educational director for the Universal Hip Hop Museum, but she was involved with Michael.
Ford, you froze again. You keep doing that to me.
I'm back again. She was involved with Michael Ford when he did the hip hop architecture camp a couple of years ago, right? They were instrumental in bringing together Mark Hawkins, who is he's known as clientele in the hip hop community, but he's the West Coast director for the Universal Hip Hop Museum. Just last week, Silky D got a call. Well, it wasn't a call. She actually was instructed by Sinyan, who is the West Coast, who is the interface with the East Coast, that what she has to do now on the West Coast is organize the women of hip hop and lift them up in the popular genre, and also to pull together conscious hip hop music as a way to impact our community. So this is a directive coming straight from the head, straight from the top. So I've got Silky D. Williams an interview actually with Chico Brown, who I've mentioned to you before, and I put a link there to a trailer I put together. Just this past week, I went out to his studios. He's agreed to include our project with bringing peace in the streets to a global audience through his campaign next year. So what we're doing right now, Michael, is we're actually laying the groundwork for identifying who is going to participate with all these different projects. Sir Bailey is critically important to this, as is Sheldon Williams, because of Sheldon Williams' project called Afronauts. That deals with, as you may know, people that are involved in science fiction, all those things.
Yeah.
But the missing component that we decided 2 years ago, when DJ Nodge was at Lamert Park at We Can Foundation,
Yeah.
and he set up this audio visual presentation that showing how we could actually populate Lamert Park with the pop-ups so that it could educate people about the activities there in the community and around the world. This is
Yeah.
part of a project. And the missing component that was determined then was, in fact, a woman named Pat Tobin. She died several years ago, but Pat Tobin was the interface between Black Hollywood and the community, basically. So it wasn't so much her herself that was the missing link, but it was what she provided and what has never been done here in Los Angeles. We have no agency that's dedicated to produce broadcast quality promotional content for our community benefit organizations and our community activities, even our small businesses. So the idea is to get youth involved with that, to provide them with not just learn to earn apprenticeship opportunities to know how to create their narratives, but to then become the backbone, if you would, of what we believe can be duplicated throughout the rest of the country and the rest of the world based on the popularity of hip hop music. We have, as you may know, also another organization called Generation Hip Hop. Paul Ruffin, I connected them together earlier or last year. They have hip hop chapters in 54 different countries around the world. It is possible and affordable for us to deliver a communication system to them that we could in fact use here, but it would be up to us to then determine what the programming is. That's again where Sir Bailey comes in, bringing together the education and the apprenticeship project he has called Art Life Live. He's already interviewed multiple celebrities, particularly, of course, from Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Yeah.
But the one I have in mind deals with disaster preparedness and climate awareness. So we're right at that particular time, Michael, where I think we can bring all these elements together within the small group of people that we have. So I sent over to you a 4-minute video that Corin Smith in Bermuda and I just put together in the last 24 hours that introduces all these key players. And we're as soon as I get through with this conversation with you, my task is to call Chico Brown and to get his feedback. But I believe we can actually take this to Netflix as a docu-reality series that can, in fact, have a worldwide impact. So in a nutshell, that's what I'm proposing.
So there's a couple things. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I hear you.
So there's a couple things that you didn't say that I would like to put into your narrative, because I think that it's work that's happened and it's important for what we're trying to do. One of the things is Adrian Dove and what you had him at the Church of Scientology and his running the Martin Luther King parade. That piece
Yes.
of it, that piece of your parade narrative, and I haven't figured this out, because I think the Sentinel newspaper has held this media position in the Lamert Park Black community for a very long time, which we know that Danny Bakewell is the founder and operator.
Well, he's not the founder. He's not the founder. He came in and bought it, but I know the history of that. But anyway, go ahead.
And he bought Lamert, and he bought the Vision Theater, and he runs the Brotherhood Crusade, and the Brotherhood Crusade is connected to this Climate Commons, and the Climate Commons seems to be the one that's now has all of this collective impact conversation into the mayor's office. And the only Black link I can find is the Brotherhood Crusade, because I was on the webinar the other day and there's not much Black presence in the Physicians for Social Responsibility, SAGE, Trust South LA, all of these nonprofits have come together, and a lot of what you're talking about, they're a big player in this. So somehow we got to figure out how they're going to, and I talked to Terrence about this, how are they going to fit into this conversation with SOLA or South LA, SOLA. So those are the names that I think, you know, we have to kind of figure out. And then the other one is the architect working, what is his name? Working with Leimert Park and working with
Roland Wiley.
who's this is really important because he's doing the master planning, and I've been talking to Terrence about that. So, you know, this is all part of why the hip hop architecture is a really important piece of how this is going to mature. And I think that the gentleman that was at Trade Tech that ran those classes, part of your group, remind me his name.
Michael Ford.
Michael Ford. So he's important because he did work with William Wells, and he was very interested, and this is going to connect directly to the guy who's running the architecture program now at LA Trade Tech, Dr. Curry. And Dr. Curry connecting to the Tubman School at University of Michigan. That's where he came from, and he's the first Black tenured architect to be part of USC. And we met with him, with Brad and with Metro, to kind of frame out this conversation. And the reason that's important is because they are basically writing the plan for Detroit. And Detroit is ground zero from a restoration model, if you will. So
exactly.
So yeah. So
So
all of this has to come together. So if you read the economic development plan for Los Angeles, you're going to see Black Hollywood was the economic engine promoted. I've tried to promote agile manufacturing. It's a larger employer, and I think it has more room, but it was promoted to use Black Hollywood, which I'm fine, whatever they want. I think Black Hollywood and Black Facebook probably aren't too different in where we are right now. And so I think you have all of those cards, you know, you cited all of those relationships. So there's nothing I can say in that vein.
Well, I can address several of the issues that, or the missing pieces. In particular, those the people that I did not mention that you brought into the conversation are part of the silent narrative, only because I haven't yet directly engaged with either of them directly, but I have been prepping them to get ready for this. And it's Khalid Shah, who is the missing element between what we're talking about so far and Danny Bakewell. As you may remember, in 2016, both Danny Bakewell and Tony Muhammad empowered Khalid Shah to be the convener of the United Nation that Brad Carson is now the president of. So I actually had put "Stop the Violence, Increase the Peace" in my initial email out, but then I changed it to "Peace in the Streets" because I didn't want to step on Khalid's toes. But it is in fact Khalid Shah and Remus Muhammad that are the key to the success of what we're talking about. Because in Khalid Shah's case, not only does he have ears on the ground and people on the streets, but he has the attention of Assemblyman Reginald Jones Sawyer at the political level. And it is in fact this change of at-risk youth to at-promise youth that I believe we can embed into what we're doing enough to attract the attention and support
I'm
of
on
Reginald
another
Jones
line
Sawyer.
right now. I just pulled off to answer the phone because I can't get a hold of you ever. Will you answer? Will you answer? All right. All right. Give me about 20 minutes. I'll call you back. All right. Bye-bye. Sorry, Andrew, the phone rang. I had to take that call.
Oh, of course, of course. You know, we should be through in maybe 10 minutes or less, so you can have a
Okay.
chance to, follow up. But because you and I are the only ones here, but it was important for me to include all the people in the
Yeah,
email that you sent out about
yeah,
the Safe Cities community, and it's important for them to hear both the earlier call and this one, because all of those individuals, I think, should be part of the ecosystem that William Wells has made his commitment to make available for us to replicate the Encounter Kansas ecosystem with Encounter LA ecosystem that we can then, I think, integrate into the Encounter California and the Encounter Global system. I've actually been working backwards. I have the Encounter Global network already in place. I have 1,500 people on Facebook waiting for us to give them the go, just as there are 30 cities around the United States waiting for the United Hood Nation to go. So we're very close to pulling that trigger, perhaps, Michael, within the next 7 days.
so I'm very impressed that you pulled out this email from 2 years ago, July 22nd, Safe Passages to School. This is very rare that anyone keeps anything and re-references it. So I'm very impressed with that based on my email from today.
Well,
Okay,
if
and
there is,
I want to tell you something that's really
yes,
important in this. So this reference to E7, the Metro, and West Angeles CDC for the Crenshaw line and the Innovation Lab. All right, this was sent to Belinda Allen. Belinda Allen became the executive director. This is the project that Marcel and I developed for West Angeles. And this innovation lab was exactly what I was explaining to Sheldon, how you take these capital construction projects and you use the BIM technology correctly so you can build those 300 unit housing developments with the local workforce. I haven't been able to get Brad to get the people in the county to understand what this means. And the one who understands is the best so far is William Wells, because he's trying to get the mayor to understand the airport development. And so I share that with you because I told this to Terrence 2 days ago. They did a swap for this development on Expo and Crenshaw, which was called the Joint Development Agreement with Metro. So when Marcel and I put the proposal together for the CDC, the 300 unit development, we lost to HED. HED is a big national, multinational engineering architecture firm that did the USC Village. They also did the LA Trade Tech Library. So we know these guys really well. We saw their proposal, and I want to send this to you because this was in 2018. This went down. And what has happened is they gave the award to Watts. Watts Development put in 25 million more dollars, and that's why they beat out the West Angeles CDC, because they wanted not to pay for the property. In the pro forma, there was 25 million more dollars from Watts. They got awarded. Now they just published last week or 2 weeks ago a brand new building. The brand new building is now done by a new architectural team, collaboration between Watts and West Angeles CDC. So now they went back and repartnered, and they say that they're partnered with LA Trade Tech WorkSource Center, and I'll send that to you. And the reason this is important is because this innovation lab was signed by LA Trade Tech. This model is described that I just told Sheldon, but if you listen to what I just told you, Andrew, they did a workaround. They figured out how to get us out of the conversation, but take the idea, and this is what's happening. This is what's happening with Physicians for Social Responsibility. Oh, we'll do the mapping ourselves. but they don't really understand how this actually all goes together. And unless we get a smarter community that understands that's a bait and switch. You're getting a bait and switch when you're talking about redeveloping the Crenshaw Mall to net zero without any usable open space. Because when you add 1,000 people, you need 1 acre of recreational space. These are urban strategies. Now, I told this to Terrence, okay? And I'm telling Terrence, you have to connect these dots. These things have to work. And so this email that you put here is where the VCAP would be Division 0, where this high incident network, we did all that simulation for that intersection. That's a very dangerous intersection, Expo and Crenshaw. And they're going to put 350 units there. So when you look at the proposal and now you look at what's being substituted, it's a quote, inferior product. So what you did is you competed, then you switched out to an inferior solution. That is not ethical. Okay, and this is
No, but it is. It is. I think not ethical, but it is business as usual.
Thank you.
Now, when you spoke about Watts, you mean the Watts that's based in Manhattan Beach?
No. The Watts industry is in Century City, and that father that created that company was the Secretary of HUD in 1963 under the Nixon administration, or 68 or something. So you look them up. And that lady is this daughter of the founder. I talked to her at the Getty Center for one of these mayor's statewide sustainability, and I explained all this to her. And obviously, whatever. And so I just share this with you because these are the things that we've explained this to Roland Wiley. And we need to make, and we've explained this to the lady who has the urban forum, urban studio, Cherie
Franklin.
So now they're talking about doing a new master plan for Leimert Park. Again.
Well, what's missing is a grassroots.
Yep.
And I'm saying to you that we don't need, in my opinion, we can't have a smart city without having a smart community.
Exactly.
I believe that it has to be the youth that are the ones that drive this. I believe that the Youth for Global Goals is a mechanism for us to get them sensitized to what the Sustainable Development Goals are, but we also have to get them involved with Youth for Human Rights, because they have to understand what their rights are, not just in the hoods where they live, but around the world. And we have access to those tools to make that happen. There's an organization up in Canada called AEISEC. They created this young person's guide to the Sustainable Development Goals. I'm believing, Michael, that we have enough tools at our disposal, but the challenge we have is media. We can't work in a vacuum, and we can't afford to keep going in silos. And the one thing I think will break all that down is the broadcast platform. That's why you see TRN, the Revelation Network, is part of this. That's why you see me talking now about Carol Kretschmann, because what we could do, if we could empower 1 million of the kids in Los Angeles and surrounding areas with her app, they can download this almost immediately, right?
Yeah.
But we can then populate that app with not just what she has on there now, but what we need for our local community.
Yeah.
The idea is to replicate that in each of the other 30 cities that the United Hood Nation already made inroads in back in 2016, not just within the United States, but globally. So again, we have all the elements in our fingertips. It's just connecting those dots together.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
One last thing before you go. That's critically important to everything we're talking about is this organization based out of Kenya called AHIABGA, AFYAREKOD, AFYAREKOD, AHIABGA.com. That's a Kenyan-based organization that use AI and blockchain to deliver personal health solutions to individuals, primarily in the rural communities throughout Kenya, that's replicable throughout Africa and the world. So my intent is to connect the dots with all these different apps so that almost overnight we could populate a particular area like Watts or Compton or Long Beach or the entire county of Los Angeles if we're able to get a media penetration so people even know that it's there.
Yeah, that's
So
good.
that's what I'm working on right now.
Can you
That's what I'm
spell
working on
that?
right now.
Can you spell that, AHIABGA?
Capital A as in Apple, F as in Frank, Y as in yes, A as in Apple, R as in ready, E as in every, K as in kitty, O as in only, D as in David.com, AHIABGA-TV.com.
Got it. Okay. .com.
Oh,
Okay.
here's Carol Kretschmann. You must have brought her up. Let's see how this goes. Carol Kretschmann, can you hear us?
I can. Did you get
Welcome.
my email? Did you get my email, my dear?
Well, anyway, Michael Rendler is here as well. We just spoke your name about 3 seconds ago, so I'm glad you had a chance to join us now.
I'm here. Michael, are you
Well,
here? Or did he leave?
Well, here's the thing. We believe that your Peace of the Streets Global Film Festival project that, as I understand it, just finished its registration process November 30th, and it's having its United Nations event on December 15th.
That's correct. And I want
can allow us to right now today start introducing your app throughout Los Angeles County so that our children here can begin to get sensitized to their own power of shaping their narrative, because we need peace in the streets right now, Carol. We had 300 murders so far this year.
You don't have to tell me. I've been here 24 years trying to get peace in the streets.
So Michael, please pick it up from here. I know you have to leave. Anything you want to say before you have to take off?
No.
Architect, hi, Michael.
Hi, haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah, you know, my husband passed away 2 months ago, 9/11, suddenly of a heart attack, right in the middle of everything we're doing. So this event is an official United Nations 75th anniversary birthday event. It is really the only worldwide event they've had because of COVID.
Wow.
They've had smaller events in Zoom. So we're making a movie. And the movie is going to have all the kids that won. We've got 28 winners. They were all, the judges all finished over this weekend. I mean, we've been doing this now, God, for for a long time. This is our 8th year. We really know how to do it. Films came from all over the world and more outside of the United States than here. We only got, I think, only 3 or 4 winners. Most of the winners are coming from overseas, which is interesting because we're getting a whole incredible perspective on what life's like in a pandemic in another country.
Awesome.
Awesome. And so what we really want is 150,000 people to tune in all over the world. It'll be played on UN television. It will officially, quote unquote, launch at noon at the UN. So noon East Coast time. That's really when we would be open for business if the kids were there in the UN. And we have B-roll from last year, where we were in the UN in the lobby. And so it will look like a movie, but it'll have a lot of folks that have been working with us. So the head of the UN 75th, Natalie, whose name I can't pronounce, the last name, she's in London. Yesterday, Ramu Demirjian, who is the head of the UN Academic Institute and used to be the editor of the UN Chronicle for years, he interviewed 6 kids from around the world on questions that he had created about the SDGs.
Wow.
And I haven't seen it yet, but I heard it was great, and he just had a wonderful say. I have a great producer, Zeus, that he does all this for me pretty much for gratis. He's like one of the top editors for political propositions.
Wow.
He just got
How long will the film be? How long will the film be?
2 hours.
Wow.
It's going to be a 2-hour, maybe longer. We're trying to keep it under 2 hours. Well, we have 28 winners. And we have Mark Morial, and we've got Bill Marks, and we've got iHeartMedia. I mean, we have all kinds of incredible people. We have the Chief Justice of the Kentucky Supreme Court, and people that the head of Harlem. They're going to either
That's awesome.
they're going to give awards. They're going to announce the award, and then Drew Baldwin, who's the tube filter and streaming guy, has always been our MC, and he'll announce the winners. And then the winner of the film will have a producer and a friend or whoever will talk about their film. And so they'll see a bit of it, but the films are all on the app.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. Sounds wonderful.
And the most exciting thing is, Michael, it's patented as of December 3rd. I will have.
Good for you.
Is that amazing? I mean, we did it. We are in the.
Well, you did it when someone else tries to borrow it.
Well, it's going to get
having a patent for sure.
Well, I got smart because I've been in this business so long that the first 2 points I gave was to the best patent litigator I know, who works with the company that I'm on the board of. So I have him as a partner.
Good. That's smart.
That he's been, and he recommended the attorney who did the patent, who's fabulous, by the way. He's an incredible man. His name is John Fitzgerald. And he works with our post. He's done 50 patents for them. He worked his butt off to get these 2 patents.
That's excellent.
And now you know what he's doing? I'm sure he bought an Airstream, and he's had his businesses on the kitchen table, and he's traveling around the country.
He's a digital warrior. I love it.
Yes, he is a digital warrior.
That's perfect.
Carol, I have a question for you. Are you connected at all with Mark Wahlberg at all in any capacity?
Wahlberg.
No, Mark Wahlberg. Mark Wahlberg. Does that name sound familiar with you?
Is he in the movie business?
No, he's an actor.
Yeah,
but he's also, he's also a film producer.
Yeah, I don't know him personally, but we have, had Martin Sheen has been on the board. Michael knows that because he was around with Martin Sheen and what's his name? Ernie Barnes. Remember Ernie Barnes, who played football and then became an artist? He was on our board. Congressman, what's her name? Watson is retired, and I told you that I had Everett Bellamy has joined our board and bringing.
Michael needs to know that it was Diane Watson who was on your board that actually founded the 5 Points Youth Foundation that I'm the president of now. But Carol, I would like to get your permission to inquire whether Mark Wahlberg would be interested in joining your board, because we're working with Chico Brown. I introduced you to him a couple of years ago, and we're now producing a weekly events, the one that we have the Zoom about.
Right.
And I would love to be able to connect Mark Wahlberg with you if you think that's okay.
That would be great. And a lot of Elliot Gould was on our board, and we've always had somebody from Hollywood because we are focused on storytelling. I mean, that's our whole thing. And so we've always had somebody. Mark Wahlberg would be wonderful because he's a real forward thinker. And next, I'm really focusing right now on taking all of the content that we have archived, and finding the right place for a repository that's an academic. And so I'm working with the woman who's the director of art and architecture at UCLA, because I'm an alum, and they just opened the Kindness Institute with Bahrain. And another very large foundation funding them. And
I would also check the Getty. The Getty Foundation's doing some really interesting archival work. So I don't know if you have contacts with them, but I got an email recently.
Really? Sure.
Yeah, they're putting together a big archive on Paul Williams, a Black architect in Los Angeles. And
sure. Well, Paul Williams, we had to tear Paul Williams' house down.
There you go.
When my first husband developed the Court Estates, and we had a big party in that house. It was an amazing house right below Truesdale.
Yeah. So
I know about
they're putting together his historical archive. So I know they're in that space to
Well,
actually take.
Michael,
I have a,
Michael, that would be very interesting if you know something, because my idea is that these are visual time capsules.
Yeah, exactly.
They're 1 to 5 minutes of a period of a moment told by a youth who has a story to tell.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And if we could put it in a place where we had an academic setting, then somebody would be interested in 2025, well, what was going on the year before the pandemic, or, and just do research. And then I don't also have to concern myself, it's in a Dropbox, it's in another place, it's on the, but we could have a meltdown and I wouldn't want to lose
Absolutely.
that content.
Yeah.
It's
sure.
very, very valuable now.
Yeah.
And then let me tell you another thing I'm doing, because you'll like this and maybe we can work together on it. It has, my husband passed away suddenly of a heart attack 2 months ago. And I was very disappointed and really scared as to how I was treated, not alone him in the hospital. And I don't know, I'm not going into medical malpractice. We're not going to talk about that. But I was treated like a leper, and like a scene of a crime. That's how I was, and it was 3 o'clock in the morning. Luckily, I live across the street from the hospital in Palm Springs, but I was demanded to go and ID the body. And no one talked to me. Not one person even approached me. So I've been negotiating with them because I have friends who were furious as to what happened. And we're thinking about creating a program for the app that I have of a video education. So wouldn't it be kind of cool, like if you were last semester in a nursing college and you had to make video play acting, and then we have a guy in the Netherlands who's able to do Q&A, and there would be like the question would be to the people who are all over the school or all over the country who are watching it on the app, well, does this person do this correctly? And if not, what would you do differently? So now you're not only making a little movie about a story that you're telling, which you're given the script, somebody's dying, the parents are elderly, this and that, whatever the story is.
Yep.
Now it becomes not only that person's story, but what I'm seeing with the kids in the film festival, it becomes everybody's story.
Yeah.
And I'm pitching that. I think I'm looking at a hook.
I'll give you a little segue that's totally related. So
sure.
So my wife's brother is a surgeon who teaches in Mexico City. So he tells us 2 years ago, he's not allowed to teach anything in the classroom that can't be distributed with a cell phone. So no matter what procedure, what process, what education he's showing, he has to make sure that content can be delivered on a cell phone.
So the
reason for that is kind of what you're saying is how do we scale and deploy knowledge? And it's all going to be in this paradigm you just outlined. And if you have a patent around that, you're in a good position.
I am. I can get to the 100%, not just the 50% with broadband. So now I
can. Well, look, let me ask you, Carol. I'm going to send you a link to a movie that Chico Brown is just distributing now. It's called Vax, VAXXED, and it deals with the vaccines, not so much because of a dislike about vaccines, but the way they've been administered, they're administered as a cocktail. So previously, they would issue these vaccines like once a week, for a period of time. But now, or recently, they've been combining these into a cocktail, and they have very devastating effect on the patients. That's the movie he did. If you have an interest in a real life movie about what you're experiencing, I think it would be a good idea to pitch it
Well, why don't
Chico.
you go download our app. I keep on telling everybody that, the iPhone or an Android, because we got 3 videos made for us by our partner in Netherlands on COVID, and it's been on our app as a part of what you look at with the kids' films. But there are 3 videos that we had that did for us about, one was how do you prevent yourself from getting COVID? This was in March. The second one was how to clean your home office or your office, how to keep it clean, how to keep, and the third one, which we thought was fun, is how to clean your cell phone without getting electrocuted or killing your phone. But it's very important that the phone is handled all the time. And if you're in a multiple situation with COVID so virulent, many people forget to clean their phone. Yes. And the desk where the phone goes, and but we did that already, but it didn't have a Q&A. It was just information. Yeah. I would love to connect with your friend who Mexico City, by one of our big winners is there, and she's helping us.
Fantastic.
Yeah, she's on the school board, and her kids have come to the UN, and they were part of the dialogue. And I'd love to talk to him, because we have the solution. And I have Ingram Micro and Cloud Blue selling it, and Honeywell as I'm a silver reseller, so I can buy Honeywell products. I have a whole plan that I'm doing, Michael, that really fits with what you.
When I have a little more time, I want to circle back with you. I got to jump off this call, but
just think.
Yeah, definitely.
Let me just tease you a little bit. 1 second. What if we, with the power of Ingram Micro, could purchase all of the closeouts of Android handheld devices? There are 25 manufacturers, including Motorola still, and Sony, and so because I saw on the Honeywell portal that they had pages and pages of hardware that says end of life, or they only have a short stock. They've written it off. They don't give a shit about that. It's holding. It's taking up space in their warehouse. Yeah. I'm thinking, if we could get one of these players that I got just become a partner to scrape all of those closeouts off and put it in, and put our software on it, and sell it in 10,000 unit bundles to the local schools. Yeah. Now that everybody can have an $800 phone for $10. Yeah. And I will charge them 50 cents a month to use the software.
Well, you know who your contact is, Elon Musk. That's your contact, because his low orbiting satellites is all going to bring this whole conversation full board.
I sat next to him once on an airplane many years ago. He was going down to visit the Mormon temple in San Diego because their daughter was getting married. Oh, wow. And the 3 of us, his wife, and I couldn't get a business card out of him, but I knew who it was. And yeah, I mean, he'd love what we're doing. I mean,
yeah, he would. He'd be super.
And the other thing.
He's on our radar. He's on our radar.
Really?
Yeah, I love it. He's in our neighborhood that we're trying to put together. Right. SpaceX is right there. So yeah.
Get on your phone and call. And after Thanksgiving, why don't you and I set up a time? Perfect. You're the perfect person. You understand where I'm going. And I've got the salesman. I don't have to do that. I've got the software.
Yeah, it sounds great.
Now we have to figure out, how do we get this across to everybody so everybody has a chance to get better.
I love it. All right, Carol. Nice to talk to you.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Great.
You have a wonderful holiday. Talk to you later.
Okay,
I'm alive, and things are going the way out right now. So help me with getting 100,000 people to come in. We have Salesforce. We're a grantee. We have iHeart. We have all these big companies who don't know what they're doing right now.
I know.
Running around and hitting their heads together.
We'll circle back. Okay.
Take care.
All right, Michael.
Thanks, honey.
All right. Bye-bye.
So when I tell people that you're back in my life, did you talk to Corin?
Yeah, I talked to him a couple of weeks ago. Yes.
What did he have anything to say about?
Well, he wanted to, first of all, convey his thanks and appreciation that you're still kicking. He did send his condolences for the loss of your husband, of course, but he looks forward to a way we can, you know, kind of catch up when we have an opportunity, depending on what your schedule is like.
Well, you know, after this, I have a very busy day tomorrow preparing for a very important lunch meeting out here. And then after that, I would say the rest of the week, we should have some time to kind of plot and plan.
Well, great, because on Friday, again, we're having this weekly event. It's going to be
You
a
know,
pretty
but
big
I
one.
really, I'll try to do that too, because you know, and I'm on the e-Rotary. I don't know whether you'd be interested tomorrow night. There's the e-Rotary for Peace, and there we can invite it. It's an international Rotary on Zoom. I could send you.
Well, I want
if
I
not
want to
tomorrow,
help you.
it's on.
I want to reach. I want to help you reach 1 million people with your app. So let's talk about that on Tuesday. Is that good for you? Tuesday's good? Or
Yeah,
when?
like, why don't we talk about 4? Is that
Wednesday?
tomorrow? Tomorrow?
Well, today's Sunday, so tomorrow's Monday.
Yeah, Tuesday. Sorry, I have a noon. After 4 o'clock, that would be good. And if you have a few minutes,
Okay, good. I'll send you.
I'll get you the Zoom invite, and you can join for a few minutes and just. It's a very interesting group, and they're sending the call to action to watch the movie to every Rotarian office across the globe. So that just started. So
Excellent. Yeah. Okay, Carol, I love you so much.
All right.
So we'll talk soon. Take care.
4 o'clock on Tuesday?
Yeah, 4 o'clock on Tuesday.
Okay. Just want to put it in the calendar. Thanks, Joanne.
All right, I'll send the invite. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks.
All right, bye-bye.